with Stetson so white and a pearl-handled gun swinging on his side. Texas John Slaughter made 'em do what they oughter, 'cause if they didn't, they died.
From Tombstone, Arizona, the sheriff's badge of Cochise County. At one time or another, it was worn by some of the most colorful characters of the early West. However, as you dig back through the records, I'm afraid that you find that many of them weren't quite as great in real life as they have become in legend. Some of them wore it for profit, some of them for prestige, and some of them used it like a hunting license, a standing permit to shoot down anybody who crossed them. There were exceptions, of course, and chief among these I would name John Slaughter. Surely no man ever wanted it less, nor wore it better. At the time he agreed to take the job on, he had already become a substantial man of the community, with a ranch to run and a family to raise. He had no need to build a reputation. He had no axe to grind. However, he had the best reason in all the world for taking the job. He felt it was something he could do to help make his community a better place to live. Now, this is the true historical background of the story you're about to see, titled A Holster Full of Law.
Elbows off the table, Willie.
Oh, Ma.
Don't say oh, Ma to your Ma.
Oh, Pa.
If you're going to talk to the boy, John, the least you can do is look at him.
Oh, Paola. Any more of that, young lady, and you stay home.
Oh, John, how can we teach them table manners if they see you reading a paper?
I'm reading about the McCabe killings.
Oh?
Elbows off.
Yes, sir.
They'll get the people responsible.
No, if they do, it'll be the first time. Well, I don't like bringing the kids to town, so you do your shopping fast for once. Sound like somebody in a hurry? Pete Mannion.
Oh, dear, I hope he doesn't stay long. We want to start it.
Take a second.
Children, you clear the table. Then we'll get your things.
Morning, Pete.
Morning, John.
We got some trouble.
Huh? What's the matter?
Tim and me rode out to drive the whiteface herd to the creek.
Yeah?
The herd was cut into last night. We lost about 40 head.
Did you see anybody?
Didn't see anybody.
Apaches?
Horses are shod. Timmy and me followed the trail, going due north, toward Billy Soto's place.
Again? You get yourself a fresh horse and round up the men. I'll be with you in a minute. Honey, we're gonna have to call off our trip to Tombstone. I got another call to make.
What kind of call, John?
Billy Soto ran off with 40 head of my cattle. I'm gonna get them back.
By yourself?
No, of course not. I'll take along 10, 12 of the men.
Oh. Counting the sheriff and his men, that should be plenty.
I don't need the sheriff.
Or the law?
Paola, I had 40 head of cattle stolen.
Then why not call in the law?
Because I can handle it better.
Can I go, Pa?
Well, be quiet.
No, John, let him talk.
Paola.
He might as well learn now, and he might as well learn from the best teacher in the territory, that the only law in Arizona that means anything is at the end of a gun.
Paola, I never taught him that.
That's exactly what you're teaching him. It's what every child learns. Somebody robs or kills, don't bother about the law. Just rob and kill yourself.
Paola, as long as I can remember, I've been handling my own affairs. I'm too old to change.
Willie,
Yeah, Ma?
Take it.
I won't get a licking?
Not this time.
Oh, boy! Yee! Look at that, Pa!
I don't like that look any better than you do. But we'll just have to get used to it.
Willie, give me that.
Oh, gee, Pa! And I was gonna get a new dress.
We go to Tombstone, son.
But Billy Soto stole our cattle.
I know. And that's exactly what I'm going to tell the sheriff. Go get your hat. We'll wait for you outside.
Oh, Addie, the dishes. Come on, help me quick.
You take the kids and do your shopping.
All right. Come along, children.
You waste a lot of my time, Sheriff.
Sorry, Soto, but I was forced into it. You know how it is.
I don't want it to happen again.
It won't.
Little men who make little mistakes annoy me.
And big men who make big mistakes annoy me.
You taking offense because I taught the sheriff his place?
You push him around, that's his business. Somebody ran off with 40 head of my cattle last night.
Bad thing, rustling cattle. Something ought to be done about it.
That's right.
My advice is tell it to the sheriff.
Let's go. Come along.
Something ought to be done about Billy Soto.
I thought that was your job, Sheriff.
People expect miracles.
All I expect is for you to round up your deputies and go out and collect 40 head of my cattle that Soto's stole.
Accusing a man of rustling, that's a pretty serious charge.
That's right.
I suppose you got proof.
Tracks led to his place.
That ain't real proof.
Well, suppose we just ride out there and see if they're grazing on his land. Will that be proof enough?
Well, of course it would. Were they branded?
You know, we don't brand this early.
Well, understand, we got to go about this legal. First of all, got to get a search warrant. Then we need some real evidence. Or you're liable to be arrested for making false charges.
Actually, you gonna saddle up or not?
I need proof. That's what I need. People all over town demanding things. But they made me bring them in for the McCabe killings. What good did it do? Had to let them go. No proof.
Old Judge McCabe was bringing a little guts to this town.
When the stage was held up, why'd he have to talk? Why'd he have to tell them he'd hang them all? Why?
They killed his wife, too.
I know, Slaughter, I know. But that wasn't my fault. It was his. All he had to do was keep quiet, say nothing.
And they killed his 6-year-old son. What do you think that little boy said to get his?
Please. Now, try not to lose your temper.
There's going to be plenty of tempers lost this afternoon, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, I know. I'll do my best, Mayor, but after we bury the McCabes, the town's liable to explode.
Don't count on it, Everett.
You don't know the feeling of the people, Benson.
A newspaper man's job is to know people, Lou, and I say our people will crawl right back into their holes.
Mr. Mayor, you got yourself elected on a reform ticket. Yeah. So far, we ain't seen anything change.
Not a thing.
Now, Bob Hatch is the sheriff. It's his job to keep order.
It's always somebody else's job, isn't it, Mayor?
Well, John Slaughter, good to see you, John. You You know everybody here, don't you? Tom Benson, editor of the paper.
How do you do? That was quite a piece you wrote this morning.
You should have read it before it took the bite out.
How are you, Slaughter?
Howdy.
John?
Oh,
Sam,
and
how
John,
are
you
you?
know Reverend Graves. We're all friends.
How are you, Reverend?
Well, just in town for a visit, John?
I came to talk to you about Bob Hatch.
You're in the right place.
Join the party, Mr. Slaughter.
Well, what's the matter now?
Well, somebody grabbed off 40 head of my cattle, and Bob Hatch won't stir out of his office.
Never does nothing about nothing.
Oh, now, that's not true, Sam, and you know it. Now, I'm not defending the man. I'm not even saying that he's the best man for the job.
All I'm ready to say is the worst.
The way he handled the McCabe killings, a 10-year-old kid could have done better.
Well, he brought Soto in, didn't he? He questioned him, didn't he? Wasn't his fault that Billy had an airtight alibi.
Swore he was at home, and his gun hands swore they were watching him, so Hatch let him go.
I don't think our glorious sheriff even tried to build a case.
He's afraid to look into it. Scared to death he might find something.
Worst mistake we ever made was putting him in office.
Gentlemen, running him down will do no good, but running another man against him might.
That makes sense, Reverend.
Maybe the answer. If we can come up with a man bigger than Billy Soto.
Only one answer. Get us a long rope.
Is that what you're teaching your kids, Sam? Use a rope? Somebody goes out and robs and kills. You don't bother about the law. You just go out and rob and kill right back?
Do unto others. Right, Reverend?
I'm afraid you're misinterpreting the book, Sam.
I think what we got to get is a man with a stake in the future.
Well, now we're making sense. Now, why don't we make a list? Start with the qualifications and then list the men who meet them.
I still think we ought to hang Soto first.
I agree with you, Sam, but I just think we ought to go about it fair and legal like.
That's right.
Well, now, who's got some suggestions?
Well, how about Don Benson?
That's a good man.
I don't know him. Anybody else? Well, he's got a...
Look, here comes Walt. Look, I got a new dad.
Ah, did you, honey?
I got some new shoes.
Uh-huh.
Where have you been?
Over at the mayor's office. Some of our leading citizens figure what we need is a new sheriff.
Well, it's about time.
Yeah, that seemed to be the general feeling.
We need a strong man.
That's what the mayor said.
A man with the future in Arizona.
That's what I said.
A man who has respect for the law and is willing to live by it.
That's what the Reverend said.
A man with courage enough not to back down and whose gun's fast enough to earn him a little respect.
And that's what Tom Benson said.
Then maybe this town would be a fit place to bring children. Raise them decent.
Exact words old Lou Debney used.
Only problem is, can they find a man like that?
Well, personally, I don't think so, but they seem to be pretty convinced they got him.
Well, who'd they pick?
Me.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
At last, Tombstone and all of Cochise County has a sheriff they can be proud of. A man of strength, of character, of honesty. Well?
I'm not interested.
But he says such wonderful things about you.
Why, come with me.
Listen to this. Most important, a man with a fast gun.
That's just right.
It's more than that, John, and you know it.
Why do women always worry about things that haven't even happened yet?
It's a red flag for every gunfighter in the West, every hot-tempered kid to come to Tombstone and try his luck against John Slaughter.
Well, just because they ride into town doesn't mean I have to draw against them, does it?
Would you back down?
Well, I guess I got everything. Well, sure, I'd back down if I thought it best. Now, will you and the kids please come to Tombstone with me?
Tombstone is no place to bring up children.
Well, honey, the town's changing.
You want me to read you the list of last month's killings?
Things will be different, I promise you.
So the paper says, because they have a new sheriff with a fast gun.
It was your idea, remember, not mine.
My idea.
Sure, if you'd let me go after Billy Soto my own way instead of calling in the law.
I said to call in the law, not become the law.
Isn't there anything I can do to make you change your mind? Nothing?
Oh, John, please try to understand. It's hard enough for me to be without you, but if I had to sit each day and wonder if one of my children was hit by a stray bullet, I can't do it.
Well, I'll get home as often as I can.
Oh, Well, you've changed your mind that you're going to resign.
Honey, I can't do that. I took on this job, and now I got to see it through. You understand that, don't you? Let's started. Go, John.
All right, John. You swear to uphold the law of the land and the territory.
I swear to uphold the law of the land and the territory.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Sheriff.
Amigo! ¿Cómo está usted? Welcome to Tombstone, amigo. Gentlemen, I want you to meet my new deputy, Senor Cesario Lucero of Sonora, Mexico.
Lucero. I've heard that name somewhere.
You wanted?
By the senoritas? Always.
By the law.
Always. Oh, not in Arizona territory. Over the border.
That's good enough. Swear to uphold the law.
I swear.
And John, I know that you have the right to pick your deputies, but,
It's a noisy town.
Let's go quiet it down.
Where I know you from? I have a letter of introduction. It's not a very good picture of me. I was in a hurry. Hey, amigo! Hey, wait for me!
Put it away. Everybody here vote for me for sheriff? Well, you got me anyway. The law says there's no shooting in town, no wearing guns on Sundays. Where you from, mister?
Texas. Got a herd bedded down about 4 miles from here.
Hmm?
Yeah, I'm driving them to California.
This your first time in Tombstone?
Yes, sir, Sheriff.
You keep your gun holstered, huh? Anybody got any questions?
yeah, I got one. Suppose I want to relax kind of loud. Like around up the town a bit. Who do I have to ask for?
Don't do it.
I'm asking for your name, lawman.
The name's Slaughter.
Originally out of Texas.
Well, it's been some time since I've been there, but that's where it came from.
I've heard about you.
Well, there's one Texan with another. You use those hands of yours for drinking and riding, huh?
No argument, Mr. Slaughter.
Fine. This isn't your first time in Tombstone, is it, Mr. Alvord? I'm talking to you. You want to turn around?
You better do as the man says, amigo. You have 5 bullets in you before you hit the floor.
Let's go.
I said, let's go.
Look, Sheriff, A man wants to push his weight around, see how big a star makes him. I say, all right. Until he begins to push me.
Look, son, if you don't come along with us, we're gonna have to carry you.
Someday, it'll be my pleasure to carry you, Mr. Slaughter. But if you weren't going to arrest me, why didn't you just say so?
Had a reason.
Well, do you mind telling me what it was?
Was your father called Tom Alvord?
My father was called a lot of things when he wore a star.
In Texas?
You knew him?
Yeah, I knew him. I knew him pretty well at one point. Are you as good with that gun as he was?
He taught me, but I'll never be as good.
Bird, I want you for my deputy.
Me? Mm-hmm. Look, Mr. Slaughter, I live in that saloon. I love to gamble and have fun. Those men are my friends.
Well, I tell you, Bird, I need a full-time deputy to put in full-time in a saloon. What do you say?
You serious?
Mm-hmm. Look, Bird, if you turn this badge down, nobody out there is ever going to know I offered it to you. Nobody's ever going to know I knew your father. Or anything.
All right. I'll ride with you.
Fine. Here, Billy Soda's in town. What do you say we go pay a call on him?
What, so soon?
Well, by this time, he must be tired of waiting.
All right. I'm with you. You got a pretty good reputation with that gun.
Oh, yeah, some places.
When'd you decide to trade it in for a badge?
When he became sheriff.
Look who's turned lawman.
Howdy, Sheriff.
I just want to let you know, Billy, things have changed around here. You better not make any mistakes.
You know I never caused no trouble in Tombstone.
This badge covers everything in Cochise County.
There are other places for a man to do business.
Wherever you go, I'll have my eye on you.
If I decide nothing's changed, how do you intend to back up them words?
By making you either walk a chalk line or start shooting.
I'll let you know how I want it.
All right, Billy, it's up to you. Take your choice.
You know, John, a couple more weeks like this and we'll have collected enough in fines to build a new schoolhouse.
Bert says I put so many cowhands in jail, I can't find anybody to buy him a drink.
Oh, this must be the quietest 2 months in the history of this town.
It's always quiet before the fuse hits the powder.
You sent most of the mean ones riding.
In a circle. They'll be back because they got no place else to go.
Even so, you've done a lot more in this town than folks expected.
But I haven't got Billy Soto.
Nah, but you got him walking soft, John. Let's settle for that. Soto knows that he can't make a move without you watching him.
I don't want to watch him, John. You could have kept Bob Hatch for that.
But as long as he's quiet, as long as he's not bothering anybody.
As long as he's walking Tombstone, he's bothering me.
Meantime, you got to think of all the good you've done here, John. That's important. That's real important.
Keep playing.
Want something, Bert? The usual. Kind of early, ain't it?
First time you ever accused me of that.
Drink fast and get out. I said, I'm tired of seeing you every time I turn around.
Oh, Billy, you shouldn't let me make you nervous.
Please don't make any trouble. Billy, why don't you go find yourself another place to drink in?
I go where I please, I drink where I please, and don't think any of that's changed. Because Big John Slaughter gets himself elected sheriff.
Sure, Billy.
I've been meaning to ask. Did you vote for him?
Don't stretch it too tall, mister.
If you got the time, I'll go get him, and you can measure him for size.
It's late. But someday I'll find the time.
You forgot to pay for your drinks, Billy.
You don't like my money, I figure you want me to go someplace else.
Pay the man, Soto.
What I owe?
$4.
You counting?
I am. I make it about $11, right?
Keep counting.
You just run yourself up quite a bill.
Now I'm going to pay it.
You know, John, that dinner invitation still holds good.
Might just take you up on that. Getting awful tired of restaurant food.
Yeah. Hello, Sheriff. Mayor. Kind of friendly, isn't he? All right, now, don't let it bother you, John. Sooner or later, he's going to get tired of being watched all the time, and he'll move right out of the territory.
I'll see you Sunday.
Yeah. So long.
What happened?
I don't know. It looks like they hit him with everything but the bartender.
Bird?
Here's the law and order in Tombstone. Who is it?
It's me, boss.
Door's open, come on in.
Get up.
I ain't got a gun.
I have. Cesario.
There's nothing I could do, boss. They jumped me from behind.
I'll settle with you later. What do you want?
You?
You arresting me for something?
Mm-hmm.
What?
For beating up a law officer.
That was a little misunderstanding. Personal matter between me and Bert. Nothing to bother yourself with.
It's a funny thing, Billy. I always seem to be giving you a choice. The sheriff, I can either press charges or I can let you off with a lecture. Which will it be?
Lecture, of course.
Fine. And I'm going to lecture you just the way you lectured Bert. Take him outside.
Oh, me, go.
Andale. Tie him up.
Come on, get out! Get out!
You all right, amigo?
Yeah, I'm fine. Big man, when you make a mistake, you make a big mistake.
I'm going to ask this worthy gentleman a few questions. Frankly, I wouldn't have called him, but I think it's only fair that you meet the type of men who are accusing my client. Your name is Cesario Lucero?
Si.
Can't you speak English?
Si, I speak English, Spanish, Portuguese, and French.
Quite an accomplishment for one man. Do you have any other talents?
I do not understand.
Like using a gun?
I can do that.
Isn't it true you're wanted by the police in Sonora?
Yes, but
Isn't it true you're wanted in Chihuahua?
Yes, but that was only...
A man with a price on his head. Is the sheriff's idea of the type of person to wear a badge?
Hey, senor. You didn't give me a chance to answer the questions.
That isn't necessary.
Senor Judge.
Step down.
You think we can count on that foreman?
I wouldn't bet on it.
With no evidence, with witnesses who are incredible. I'm shocked that this case ever got to court. Mr. Elvord, according to your neighbors, you've never held a steady job.
It depends on what you mean by steady.
Well, let me put it this way. Where have you spent most of your time? On the open range or in a saloon? Seems to me the only reason he took the job as deputy was because people got tired of buying him drinks.
That's a lie.
Are you threatening me? Are you going to use that gun on me?
Sit down, Bert. Every time Soto looks at the jury, we lose another vote.
I still think we got enough for conviction.
You better be quick.
If it's a lie, Mr. Elvord, would you kindly tell us where you got the money to buy your own?
Doing jobs.
Mr. Elvord, I distinctly remember you saying you've never held a steady job. That's all.
Step down.
You say you found this in my client's home.
That's right.
My client says he found it on the road.
He's lying.
I suppose you can prove that.
Well,
just as I thought. Mr. Sheriff, so far we've heard testimony from a gunfighter and a boy who spends his life in saloons.
Mr. Lawyer, you better find a different way to refer to my deputies.
Are you threatening me now? Seems like every time I touch the truth, I receive a threat.
That's not a threat.
Well, I'm glad. Sheriff, my client is accused by you of a very serious crime. The murder of the McCabe family.
You're at the truth now and nobody's threatening you.
That's very clever. So far, there are no witnesses to the crime.
No one with guts enough to admit it.
That's not what I meant.
Well, it's what I meant, and it's the truth.
Mr. Slaughter, the men you've killed, were there ever any witnesses to the killings?
What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. Before you put on that badge, you cleared up all your problems by killing the men who caused them.
I never murdered anybody.
Murdered? That's an odd word for you to use, especially since I never used the word.
Well, that's what you meant.
All right, Mr. Slaughter. Let us suppose that you gave all that up when you became sheriff. Let us also suppose that you became sheriff because you're no longer as fast as you once were.
You threatening me now, Mr. Lawyer?
I'm only suggesting that you're accusing my client of murder because you couldn't make the other charge stick, and now you want to get even with him.
I'm the sheriff. There's nothing personal.
No?
No.
Didn't you accuse my client of stealing 40 head of your cattle?
That's right.
Was the charge ever proven?
No charges were ever brought.
But you think he did?
I know he did.
And, don't you consider that personal?
Your Honor, I got the watch. What more?
That's all, Mr. Sheriff.
Step down, John.
Your Honor, we're only wasting the court's time. A lost watch, the testimony of 3 men whose motives are quite plain. I suggest we have no case here.
Better ask the jury that.
I say you ask them, Your Honor, and get this farce over.
Mr. Prosecutor. Do you want to go out and think it over? Or can you make this quick?
We find Billy not guilty.
You know, in my country, we would have hanged that jury.
They felt a gun in their back and they buckled.
When the Hatch was sheriff, he said he needed proof. How much and what kind does it take?
You put up a good fight. Everybody will have to admit that.
But I lost.
Well, in the fights I know, the loser doesn't even get up.
Well, I got one more punch left, and I'm gonna use it.
More good law. Next time we'll have Slaughter and his come in here and take over and tell people what the law is.
That's right. Slaughter. No hard feelings.
You killed 3 people, you're gonna pay for it.
Don't the law say I can't be tried twice for the same crime?
There are other laws.
Sure. Nah, come on, I'm throwing a party at the Old Hickory Saloon. You and the boys come, the party's on me.
You better make it a quick party, Billy.
Why, when I give a party, it lasts for days.
In 2 hours, I want you out of town. In 10, out of the county.
2 hours? My watch says that you want me out by noon.
That's right.
Why, by noon, the party will just be starting. Come on, boys, fill up the Old Hickory.
Slaughter, you mean what you said?
Yeah, I mean it.
If there's going to be action, I'll hold up the paper.
No reason to do that. Just print that Billy Soto left on time.
Sheriff, looks like you're beginning to make up your own laws.
The law says the sheriff has a right to tell any undesirable character to leave the territory.
Wouldn't you say Soto is an undesirable character?
The laws say you can use a gun.
The law says, Mr. Benson, that since we have people who speak English and Spanish and Indian and a lot of other things, that the sheriff has to tell them in a language that they understand.
It's almost 12 o'clock. He does not ride out.
Then we ride him out.
John, the law says we can have all the deputies we want.
I could use about a dozen. You could have all you want, too.
This is something we got to do ourselves.
Well, don't be proud. I wouldn't be ashamed to ask for help.
Not a matter of pride, amigo.
Then what?
The law doesn't depend on the town depends on the law.
You see how simple it is, Lucero?
If nobody minds, I just depend on my gun.
I'm getting hungry.
What, you mean you could eat now?
We'll eat later. I only mention it because I always get hungry around 12.
I thought I'd bust a gut, just die laughing. And when I said not guilty, Slaughter looked like he was going to choke. He was so mad. And did you see the look on his face when Billy handed him the tag off that watch?
Noon already?
According to my watch.
Mine too.
Party's over, Billy. Pay the man, move on.
That's the way you want it, Sheriff.
Take your friends with you.
Anything you say.
There's a lot of land north of here.
Yeah? Then that's the way I'll be heading.
Maybe Bert and I better follow him out of town, eh?
I'll get Slaughter.
Get a doctor.
How are you? You know that's the first time I ever been shot? I don't like it.
The doc will patch it up.
You know, it's a dangerous thing being a sheriff.
And it's a dangerous thing being a gunfighter, too.
Job is over, amigo?
It's over. Muchas gracias, amigo.
De nada, chico. Maybe I become a ranchero.
Hey, aren't you finished yet?
Almost.
Well, I got everything in the wagon, including the kids. Boy, I sure am glad you changed your mind.
I was lonesome, John.
Me too. I gotta be honest about one thing, Vi. I can't promise that there won't be other problems, other Billy Sotos.
I understand that.
And you're not worried, I mean, about the kids?
Well, I wouldn't be a mother if I didn't worry a little bit. But from now on, I think the ones who ought to be afraid to live in Tombstone should be the Billy Sotos, not the sheriff's wife and the sheriff's children.
In Texas, a ranger he had to become, and outlaws he defied. For Texas, John Slaughter made 'em do what they oughter, 'cause if they didn't, they died. His turned-up white Stetson and pearl-handled gun were known